APOMETRY. There are many techniques. It talks about the laws of APOMETRY, which means 13 laws that cover APOMETRY. What else comes on this book? 7 bodies. He explains well about the 7 bodies we all have. And I will tell you a little bit more about that when I come back to each one of them and give you some examples that is in there. Examples that is great for each one of us. What else it comes with? Understanding chakras. The many forms of obsession, spiritual obsession, and many forms of self-obsession. And you know that self-obsession has to do with ourselves, with personalities. Our personalities that we lived during other incarnation. And the treatment for both. A different kind of obsession, which means spiritual obsession and self-obsession. Okay, let's come to this other book, APOMETRY in Practice. It's APOMETRY in Practice. It's a book based on question and answers. And it is a kind of a clarification of the doubts of APOMETRY. And couple of doubts that people were bringing, or the group of mediums, because they worked during many years. Dr. Lacerda with APOMETRY and J.S. Godinho with multiple unfoldment and other techniques. They had, both of them had a huge group of mediums and studies. They were always studying many different subjects in order to do what they did. It was not something done just for nothing. It was based on many years of studies and practice. What else this book comes with? Treatment of spiritual disorder. So it will tell you the doubts we all have, especially those who want to work with APOMETRY. And I'll tell you one thing. Many psychologists and psychiatrists are interested in learning APOMETRY, multiple unfoldment, and other things. And they were interested since the 3rd Brazilian Congress of APOMETRY. International Congress, because there were people from abroad. Let's come to the 3rd book, Initiation to APOMETRY. Initiation to APOMETRY. This book, it's great. This book is great for those who want to form a group of work with alternative medicine and all what it brings and the knowledge, like in practice. Because one who wants to work with that should learn much more than one book or than a couple of books, because there are many things to learn. It takes one to learn, because one subject brings something else. It brings excellent understanding of multiple unfoldment and the techniques of multiple unfoldment. What else? It's all based, this book is all based on day-to-day practice. They have experience from their group, which is a huge group that I spoke to you about last week. Ramatiz Spirit Group of Lages, Santa Catarina, Brazil. But he has helped, J.S. Godinho has helped many people to form or to create or to start with new groups around other states of Brazil and around other countries. If they are interested in, they come there and they learn. And they have, it is a kind of, as Godinho says, The intention of this book is to encourage people or those who are interested in working with the knowledge of APOMETRY and the techniques of APOMETRY and multiple unfoldment, because he truly believes that APOMETRY and multiple unfoldment, with the other techniques, of course, and the treatment of each psychic element, it is the alternative medicine that is healing the total, because it goes deeply to bring the root of the problem and resolve it. If a patient is willing to do so, it will be done. Because when you want to do something positive in your life, and you are working for that, you will have that from the cosmos. The cosmos will help you. There will be always great ones above who want to help you in the cosmos itself. Same thing goes when you want to do something evil. You will have help same way. Medium, right? So mediumship and APOMETRY. That's with the techniques. It comes with its question and answer also. It talks about the bodies. It talks about the double ethereal body, the one that is directly connected to our physical body. Talks about mediumship, karma, and a program of incarnation, which is wonderful. Mental chromotherapy, disorganizing machines and depression. Disorganized machines, we will talk about this subject, disorganizing machine, when we come to this book. It is very important, especially now and especially for young people. And also, it brings something very important that he called art healing or art cure. Art cure is a great way to work and help those who are on the pre-stage of an incarnation. They are getting prepared for a new incarnation. And they are kind of a little lost and afraid, especially if they have a lot of debts. All of us are afraid of coming when we have a lot of debts to pay. And this art cure that this book brings is perfect for that, because it helps those spirits who are on the pre-stage of incarnation and they crippled spirits. And I will open just a little gap to talk about the crippled spirits. Many people believe that once you die, everything will be great, because God is a wonderful Father and everything will be great. Unfortunately, it is a delusion, because if you are that kind of person who doesn't complain, especially about your own suffering, whatever it is, you are there, you cope with okay, God, or okay, whoever name comes, I'm okay with that, I accept that, I'm not going to complain, and conscious about that, and you continue doing your good action despite being suffering to hell. You are that person. You are conscious about that. You are the kind of, okay, I accept, or I'll deal with that in love. Then, when you go to the other side, it is not bad. It's really not bad, because you are working quietly and thanking God for everything. However, if you do not accept your life the way it is, if you don't accept the suffering you have, and we all have, if you have money, you have your suffering. If you don't have money, you have your suffering. If you are healthy, you have suffering. If you are not, you have, no matter what. If you love somebody very, very much, and you feel you are too loved, there will be some time of problems, because that's life. We are half right and half left. Same thing goes to life. Life is half and half, positive and negative. So, if you do not accept, if you complain, if you get revolted, especially, you go to the other side feeling exactly the same thing you was feeling when you were in here. You were feeling when you were in here. Same thing. And you don't wake up, you don't accept when you are in there, because when you get in there, you want to come back. When you are in here, you want to go there because this is not good, because this is not what I expected, and so forth. And when you get in there, you don't accept, you want to come back. It's too late. So you get revolted in here and you get revolted in there. And if you have done evil things to others, don't go believing that everything that you have, that you feel will be okay just after your death, even if you have done evil things to others. It's wrong. It will not be. So this book helps a lot with spirits who are in the pre-stage of incarnation and crippled spirits who need help. All right? And so this kind of meeting, Art Cure, it is an open session for anyone who wants to come, adults and children, from this physical world, which means incarnate people or discarnate people, spirit. So spirit of children and adults and children and adult people from here, they are interacting with each other and helping each other. And it is wonderful because children get a lot of things from what they feel, what they sense, what they see, as well as people. And it is a great session, kind of session, to help those who want to develop mediumship. This book, Mediumship and Apometry, brings. Pretty much soon it will be translated. Great book for those who are willing to do so. Now, let's go to... all these books are from J.S. Godinho. Apometry and Animism. Apometry works with spiritual obsession, and it also works with the personality, especially dissociated personality, and doing obsession against the program of life of the physical personality that is attached to them. But they don't know, they don't care. So apometry is wonderful to work with that, and it helps a lot. And it also works with unfoldment of bodies. And the animistic matters work with personality because it works with apometry and animism. So personalities are related to animism, and spiritual obsession related to apometry, self-obsession, which means personalities, related to animism. It brings unfoldment of the bodies, because it is another techniques, multiple personality, sub-personality, unfoldment of multiple personality, unfoldment of sub-personality. It teaches with examples, with help of spirits, with answering questions, and so forth. And he also says that it is based on many years of studies. All of those books took time, because these people are always, we that are in connection with them, we know how much we have to learn, because each day, every day, we have a couple of things to learn that they send us. Psyche in therapy, which means how to unveil all the intricate mechanism of human psyche. All the little things that is not that easy, that's hidden. I would say, as I like to say, this book is a kind of hidden human persuaders. Psyche. What else? The many pathologies that come as a consequence. Because sometimes we believe that a problem of a patient is related to something that we don't understand that might be a spiritual obsession or something else. And then you find exactly the contrary. The problem is related to the own patient. Exactly the relationship between the physical personality and another personality that doesn't approve the way or the program of incarnation that the physical personality has to develop. What else? It also works with reports from spirits. Many great spirits that brought a lot of information to be added to the book. Wonderful information. This is a kind of work that could not be done only with human beings. It's too much. It needed, as they had, help from the mentors. And he says that in all of the books. He works and he talk about what they received from the mentors. A great help. It is kind of psyche in therapy. It unveils also what comes in our psyche, human psyche. So these two books, they are like a continuing, one is continuing of the other. And they work wonderfully together because animism comes with personality. And this one is to unveil what the personalities are able to do, especially when they are revolted or they ignore the physical personality. And all they act like people. They act like spiritual obsessors when they don't like. And these two books talk a lot because it is APOMETRY and animism. And this one continuing with animism. So both of them. This book, Conscientious Conflict, from J.S. Godinho also, work with multiple personalities and sub-personality. It's kind of continuing and bring the laws, the 3 laws with examples about all that. And this conflicts between me and myself, but I don't know that it is myself. Sometimes a sub-personality, they interact with people, with spirits, with other personalities, with multiple personalities. They are dangerous when they are, which is known, also known as alternating personalities. We have this ability to do that when we don't resolve something or we get mad at something that we cannot resolve our way, or believe we are being pushed and we cannot do. There are many circumstances, but the important thing is that when we are in those kind of situation, we have this ability to make sub-personalities, dissociate personalities, and they stay in there. It is a copy of yourself with the age that you formed that, when you formed. If it is a trauma, for example, and you were 5 years, that sub-personality, if not treated properly, it will be there with 5 years around you and bringing you and using you sometimes with that matter that has not been resolved. That sub-personality. And a multiple personality, they have a lifetime with names, gender, language, and so forth. Now, so what does the Buddhic body does? They have all the data. And in order for us to cleanse our soul, our spirit, we need to go through the matters and clean it. Who cleans the spirit? The physical personality. That's why we need new incarnation to develop something, to learn something, and take the opportunity to clean our spirit, which is full of mistakes and errors and evil things done from the past. So we need to clean. We need to work that. Now, the 3 examples I have from this book is one that affected the astral body related to emotion. The other example of a patient is related to lower mental, what happened to the guy that was too attached to lower mental issues of materialism and sex and show off and all rich and all the other things. And another example from a patient that was connected to higher mental problems with command and power. So what happened to them? So let's start with this. Let's start with this, the first one, that is astral body. Then after that we will do a comparison of everything. So who was the patient? It is on this book. The patient was a man, 39 years old, and it happened 1995. It was treated by the group of Godinho. So what happened to this guy? He was going to a psychologist and psychiatrist for a while, but could not help him much. This guy was married when he came to Godinho, a lawyer and with important position in his city. A great lawyer and important position. However, his problem was with emotion. When it came to emotion, he was totally devastated. And what was his matter? The reason why he went to a psychologist for many years. Constant crisis of desperation. Crying. When he had crisis of crying, he was crying the whole day without knowing why. Panic syndrome of panic syndrome, fear of death. When he was attacked, or let's say in crisis with those problems, it was kind of one day or so, could not do much. Fear, tremendous fear of death. What else? Fear that something bad was about to happen. Panic. And what else? Many other kind of fears when he was subjected to those matters. Now, his psychologist suggested him, advised him to go to Godinho because it was a time that nothing could help him. So he went for treatment. Now, let's see the diagnosis. After all the questions answered by him, Godinho came with this diagnosis. First place. He was a man, he was a spirit, incarnate, a man, with many debts to pay, with many evil done. And you know that where the debtor is, the creditor is also, because of the law of attraction. You owe a lot to somebody, you certainly will come in the same incarnation with around him or her, inside the family or outside the family. But some way, somehow, you find people with whom you have matters, or love, or happiness. Now, first diagnosed, a man with many debts. Mediumship was a matter because he was having syndrome of mediumship, you know, when you have outbursts of something that you don't understand and are connected to mediumship, but he never took care of it. It was totally not taken care of. He said these two things right now is everything. Now, many bad things happened to this guy, to that patient, during the time, the first years of his life. The first 7 years, and then the next 10 years. Time where many problems happened to him. And you know that when you have a lot of debts from the past, you are pursued. And he had many problems, including with his mother when he was 15 years old. His mother, that's the first thing he came up with. His mother had a problem with his father and believed that his father had a lover, and she wanted him to go and do something evil to her on her name. And he did not want to do that, and it was a problem because it took time under this matter, like being forced to do something that he did not want to do. On the time of a labor delivery, of his deliverance, when his mother was fighting for that, his spiritual perception was activated. Clairvoyant, medium, completely open. He was totally activated. And you know, because I have spoken to you many times about that mediumship is not a gift. Being a medium is a great responsibility because it is a contract that you signed, exchanging a huge matter that you would suffer, exchanging it for a less complicated problems that you would face, because of through mediumship you would help others. By helping others in a fraternity way, you would compensate and diminish your matters. That's why you are prepared to be a medium. Being a medium with like a clairvoyant since the beginning means a lot of responsibility, because it means you have great things to work, big things to work out. Now, when he was 2 days after he was born, everything was fine. 2 days, second day in life, he had the first one who visited him, the first victim from the past. It was found that it was a victim from the past. Who was that? A spirit. Bad, ugly spirit, a witch, female witch. Huge glasses. What else? He described everything during the past life therapy. Because even though he was a child, 2 days, his spirit is the one who speaks. And the spirit is not a child, is an adult. So he described as huge glasses. What else? Expression of hate. What else? Cadaverous female, huge woman, a very ugly one, who was repeating to him, he was 2 days, who was repeating to him, you will never escape from me. And now I will open a gap. Many people you tell you, or you let you know, oh, it doesn't happen to children. Wrong. It's very wrong. When you see a child that cannot defend herself, himself, crying too much, or with those things that medicine don't help, you should bring to take care of spiritually. That's why parents and everyone needs to know a little bit about spiritual issue, because how come you help your children if you don't know what it is, what's going on? It happened to this patient. And this spirit, what did she do? She took much of his vital energy by being, it's kind of a vampire. She was taking his vital energy, which means it harms a lot a child who has little because he's a child, and the spirit is grabbing from him. It's something else. The witch was bringing on him fear, insecurity, causing panic every single time she appeared to him. And she was after him since a long time. Even though the mentors do everything to hide a spirit who has a lot of debits, they do everything in their power to hide that into a new incarnation that the enemies cannot find, but they found. because they are also smart, very smart, and they are after. When you are pursuing somebody, sooner or later you find something. This happened when he was 28 until he was 39, when he asked for the treatment with Godinho. And little by little, this spirit was being treated with forgiveness, and it was not easy. That's the first great problem he had, was with this spirit, other than many others. The mediumship, he did never do anything with that. He refused to work as a medium helping others, and he was already 30 years, 39. What else? You have other than that, he had many personalities with matter, dissociated personalities, his own personality, because who did things in the past? It was himself? No. He is the last personality, the physical personality. Who had done that? His personality. Who was the one who did evil to this witch? Himself, but not this physical personality, not this lawyer. It was himself in another lifetime, which means with another personality. So through APOMETRY, Godinho and his group helped him with the spirits obsessors, those who were attacking him, especially this first one when he was 2 days of age, with forgiveness, because this work is done out of forgiveness. It is bringing all the situation to make one forgive the other, especially the spirit who is mad, and bring it to an astral institution where he can receive help. It has to be done with love, because the spirit is someone to be respected and loved. So the way we treat the patients, we also treat the spirits. They are not only victims, but they have done and they are victims. One had done to the other, against the other. So other than that, and the other spirits who were helped, there were a lot of dissociated personality, and they worked, each one of them, and traumas, regression of memory. He worked on that issue also, with memories, with traumas, and other matters. And the guy, most importantly, the patient was willing to change. Because if you go to spirit therapy, APOMETRY, multiple unfoldment, past life regression, past life therapy, and those kind of things, psychic capture, so forth, and you are not willing to change, to make changes in your life, it will be quite hard to help you. Even God can help you, because you don't want to change. You want people do for you, but you don't want to change yourself. So the first important thing is that he was willing to change. He wanted to go on with that. And believe it or not, the guy was completely healed. This lack of love provokes guilty complex, provokes remorse, provokes guilty, and many of the problems of health we have in a lifetime comes from guilty. We condemn ourselves, remorse, and those things all come to astral body, and it is transformed into depression, into fear, and all the other things. Godinho and his group has developed and is working on that for more than 10 years with the track of the spirits, helping those who are coming for a new incarnation. It doesn't necessarily have to be the last stage. The last stage is a kind of open session, a spiritual session that everyone is invited to come and interact. But other than that, he works with helping the spirit before the incarnation. Let's suppose that you want to be parent, and you get prepared to receive your babies. But the program has already been set. You are conscious of that. So as the program is kind of set, it is easy to track because the program of incarnation is ready. The spirit that will come to you is already in there, waiting for the time. It's been worked, because depending on the kind of spirit you will receive, they have to be in a special place, waiting for the time the conception will happen, so that they are little by little adjusting to a new lifetime. Because of that, it is easy to track them and help them while they are in there, because it is easier. When you come here, you can do for a child. Yes, you can, through the parents of the child. But it will depend if the parents are willing to do so, or when the child gets older, if the child wants that, and many other situations. But in there, many parents want there and say, okay, I want to track those who will come and help as much as I can. If you do that, whenever you get pregnant, most of the problems that the baby would be through during the first years of life will be solved. Of course, those who are allowed to do, because not every problem will be allowed unless otherwise accepted. It will depend, because each case is a different case. But many people today, when their baby comes, they already know a lot of things, a lot about their other incarnation, if there was connection with them, whatever they have done, what they can do to help, they do, and they are conscious of that. Godinho and his group is making it for more than 10 years. And that's what I want to mention with this, because this guy, this lawyer, could be helped a lot if it had happened. And you know, for you to happen that, you have to learn. The learning process is there. The books and everything, as I'm doing right here to you and showing to you ways, real ways of doing that, you know. If you refuse to learn for any reason, for pride, for this, for that, you lose. You are the only one who loses. Because when somebody gave his or her life to bring knowledge to people, is for people to learn. If you have the knowledge and you refuse, you pay for it, because you pay for the ignorance. You have computers now, and people and us and everyone depend on that. Cell phones and any other kind of. You refuse to learn about that, you lose. Because life is changing, and we have to adjust always and be good and do good actions. So he was okay because he wanted, and he had the support of his wife, and he had the support of his family. It was great. And how many people want that but don't have support of their family, have to do things like hiding from their family? Or how many children are suffering to hell? Their parents do not accept, do not agree with that, and the child is there suffering, especially now, with very intelligent children that not always they are intelligent as the way we think. They are in connection, in resonance with one of their personality, and they are acting through the personality. Adults.